Welcome back, Truth Seeker. At the end of my last live stream, I caught a glimpse of the comments, and there was a woman who said something to the effect of, "Why are you so angry, Zach? I've never seen you so angry." And I hadn't seen her comment before, and obviously she hasn't followed very long. I've given a lot of angry rants over the years. And to answer her question, though, and for anyone else who wonders why people like myself are so angry, you have to think about the world we are living in. It is a world that should make everybody upset. There is no justice in this world. There is a lot of lies in this world. There's a lot of bad people in this world with the absolute worst values. If you're a decent human being living in this world, you care about things like truth and justice and other people, it's not a good place to be. You are ridiculed. You are made fun of. You are demonized. You are treated like an outcast for having positive qualities. It's an outrage. My life changed on September 11th, 2001, like a lot of people who care about the truth. And really, I cared about the truth even before September 11th, which is probably part of the reason I had all the more fascination with it. But for questioning the events of September 11th, I learned just how indoctrinated my fellow man was. I became public enemy number one. The only person worse in the minds of the brain-dead masses than Osama bin Laden at the time was a person like me questioning the official narrative. And, imagine what it's like to be someone who grew up at the time I did. I was 17 years old when George W. Bush was elected president. 17. I couldn't vote yet, but we still had to follow the elections in high school. I was a senior that year. And, I still remember it, just thinking like, wait a minute. What kind of nation am I living in? The son of the last Republican president's the front runner for the Republican Party, and he's running against robotic Al Gore, and he's a smug little asshole. And again, national media told you for months that it was going to come down to Florida, the state where his brother was the governor. It's like, okay, I'm supposed to believe I live in something that's even somewhat democratic? I mean, this couldn't sound any more like a monarchy, kings and queens. Son of last Republican president in a state where it's going to come down to his brother. And then sure enough, it did. It did. It came down to Florida. And I wish I knew gematria back then, because I was, what is that? Look at that. 43rd president. His brother is the 43rd governor of Florida. His father was the 43rd vice president. Florida equals 43. Yale equals 43, like how they're members of a secret society at Yale. But anyway, I mean, you didn't even need gematria. It was just obvious bullshit, just like how I saw it then. And I thought, well, what'll happen next? And then it's 9/11, the biggest, most obvious lie of what will likely be our lifetimes. And let's hope it is. Let's hope it doesn't get any worse than 9/11, which we still don't have justice for. But you look at these things, and you try to point them out to people, and they don't even have any thought. They just have these programmed responses. Oh, are you saying there's some sort of conspiracy? They say it like it's fucking impossible. Yeah, I am saying there's a fucking conspiracy, you fucking moron. Can't you see that? Can't you see how fucking obvious it is? But you say that, and then you got to get into a fight. And I don't have a problem fighting dipshits, but the problem is you get into a fight and whoop some loser's ass. You live in this bullshit society where now you're in court and you're being sued and having to pay fines and go to jail because you can't whoop these loudmouth fucking losers' asses like you should be able to. This is another thing to be angry about. And then there's people that are thinking right now like, oh my God, violence? Violence doesn't solve anything. Fuck you. Violence is one of the only things that solves anything in this world. Why do you think we're led around by military tyrants who murder everybody in their path? I'm not saying it's right, but it's because it gets the fucking job done. And I'm not saying I want to live in a world where, everything is created and solved by violence, but there is a place for violence, and we've been neutered as a people. So many of you think you can't do anything violent. That's not an option. Show me what has happened in the world to achieve anything that wasn't done with violence. Where's the peaceful protest that was successful towards any of this tyranny? Doesn't exist. Never gonna exist. You're never gonna overthrow murders and killers with a peaceful protest. You're gonna overthrow it with an angry fucking protest that puts these people 6 feet under where they need to be. So anyway, there's just so many things to be angry about. There's no justice. The people that are half awake, they've already neutered themselves. They've taken away the solution. Oh no, you can't do that. You just got to get out there and march with signs. Like that hasn't been fucking done 1,000 times to no avail. So anyway, just coming back to the reality of this world. No justice. Almost everyone's asleep. Almost everyone's a programmed jackass. Those who are awake, which aren't very many, most of them don't seem to be willing to do anything. They're too paranoid. They're too afraid. You know, I have more emails since I put out my book than sales of people saying, I'd get your book, but you know, you can only get it online, and I'm worried they'll track my Visa card number and there'll be trouble. Oh my God. If you're a coward, there's no point in even being awake. What, you don't think they can track and figure out who you are just by the website you're visiting, the YouTube content you're consuming? You know what I mean? It's just like, everything is maddening, you know? If you're going to be awake and research truth, I mean, have a pair. Don't sit there and cower in fear and worry about Big Brother tracking you and punishing you for spending $5 on a truth-related book. I mean, that's a fucking joke. Again, my whole goal the last 6 years, which has been defeated 1,000 times over by Google's censorship by deleting me and shadow banning and unsubscribing everybody, my goal has been to build up a large enough audience that there's a group of people big enough to help share information and interact and network to make something happen. And we should be here by now. That's another thing I'm really frustrated about, being deleted all these times. Finally got the channel back up to 70,000 in September of last year just to get deleted again. And what did I get deleted for? Hate speech. Hate speech. What was my crime? It was doing a video about the Democratic candidate Marianne Williamson being criticized in mainstream media for not denouncing the conspiracy theory of the dancing Israelis. I mean, think about that. What kind of bullshit is that? It's not a conspiracy theory, the story of the dancing Israelis. It's a fucking fact. People were arrested in New Jersey who were sent back to Israel and who went on television in Israel, admitted that they were in the United States that day to document the attacks of September 11th because they had foreknowledge. Okay? Those are facts. And I did a simple video saying, well, why should Marianne Williamson, that video that I made wasn't angry. I didn't rant against anything. I just said, why should she have to denounce something that's being labeled by the media as a conspiracy theory when it's factual, when it was even presented to us on 60 Minutes. CBS's 60 Minutes did a story on the dancing Israelis not long after 9/11. That's where I first learned about it. In 2019, it's a conspiracy theory that should be denounced. And then to get your fucking channel taken down, I mean, it's just straight up bullshit. And then you got this Jewish woman who's the CEO of YouTube, who shortly after happens to do a video in front of Skull and Crossbones talking about how, oh, you know, our censorship, it's not really unfair, and we don't really take down channels when we make new policy changes. I mean, it's just like, shut the fuck up. God, all you people do is lie. Yeah, you do. You change the policy, and then you delete people's channels from videos that they've had up for 4 years, like the first time my channel got deleted, June of 2017. You know? June of 2017, the Bilderberg Conference. One of the bullet points on their agenda is what to do about the online truthers. Next thing you know, almost everyone who's a legitimate truth channel on YouTube is deleted, including yours truly. Since then, I'm on 20 channels now. I mean, how ridiculous is that to have your channel taken down that many times? And for 3 months in there, they wouldn't even let me create a new channel, so I was just completely gone from the platform. I had to move and get a new IP address. But, I mean, for anyone, like, seriously going, what are you angry about, Zach? I mean, fucking seriously, what am I angry about? I've spent the last 6 years of my life, the prime of my life, educating about the tyranny taking place in this world when I would much rather be doing a million other things. You know what I mean? I'm approaching 37 years old. You know, I don't have any children. I do have a sweet lady. I mean, my life's pretty decent. I can't complain. But I'm not doing the things that a normal human being would be doing because I'm awake to the bullshit fucking world I live in. You know, I like children. I'd like to have my own child or maybe a couple children. But I don't because I can't justify bringing them into this world. That's why I've spent a lot of my life working with children, because I realized these things when I was younger. You know, that I probably wouldn't have children, but I like children. I like teaching children. So I ended up working in group homes and teen homeless shelters and teaching in school. And I'd still be teaching in school if the school system wasn't such bullshit, you know? Part of the reason I stopped teaching at a public school that I taught at is because I was disciplined for working extra hard on behalf of children in my classroom and in other classrooms, which offended lazy fucking teachers, which the principal sided with. I used to go in hours before school and stay hours after and tutor children for free in all grades at the public school I worked at because we were a failing school and we were way behind. And, you know, I literally had my peers, other teachers, complain to the principal because they didn't like that I was giving their students attention. Because they were the ones not coming in and giving their students attention. So they felt like I was making them look bad. You know what I mean? That's the fucking world we live in. And that's why I just get sick of fucking people. It's like, I mean, I don't mean to sound arrogant, but I realized at a young age that most of the people around me were dumb. Like literally dumb, incompetent. They couldn't think. They were poorly gifted when it came to athletics. From a young age, I was skilled academically. I was skilled athletically. And I got tired of having to be around all these fucking incompetent people that, you know, couldn't answer the simplest question, couldn't, you know, solve the simplest problem. I had to go play sports practice with a team of fucking losers who can't catch the ball, who can't kick the fucking ball, you know, dribble circles around the whole team, score more goals than the rest of the fucking team. You know, it's like, what the fuck? Why are people so goddamn incompetent? And this is like literally my lifelong reality. And I'm sure it is for a lot of other people too, you know? It's just, we literally live in a world of lemmings. And sometimes I wonder if the reason I didn't turn out to be a lemming myself was because of one simple choice that my mother made. And that was to make sure that I never had any fluoride. We grew up in Portland, Oregon, where there was no fluoride in the drinking water. She made sure I never got fluoride at the dentist, no fluoride in the toothpaste. Sometimes I just wonder if that's the one thing that made the difference. Having no fluoride up to whatever age that, you know, I've lived in other cities like Phoenix, which obviously have fluoride and all sorts of shit in their water, but sometimes I just wonder, by not getting any of the fluoride until pretty much I was out of the house at the end of high school, if that's the one fucking difference. Because, I mean, it's hard to explain. It's not that I don't feel like I'm a rocket scientist or a genius. I know I'm not. But it's just like most people, it's like they just can't do the simplest fucking things. Like, I'm even amazed that most people can tie their shoes. And that's how it is with all this information too. You know, to witness 9/11 and believe the official story for a minute. I mean, and I'm sorry, I know this offends so many people because you say you weren't awake at the time, but seriously, I mean, you had to be fucking retarded. How can you fucking believe what happened on 9/11? Like, what about that story was believable? What part wasn't to be questioned? A man in a cave is responsible. Oh, really? A man in a cave beat NORAD? You know, this is the same nation where we get a story of a golfer's plane having some tragedy in midair and fighter jets are on it in moments because they're not getting a response from the cockpit. But I'm supposed to believe in this same fucking nation that 4 planes got hijacked and flown into targets? I mean, bullshit. Man in a cave. And again, how did those buildings fall down? It's not like we don't live in a nation where they show us 1,000 times the demolition of all sorts of things, from towers to sports stadiums. We know what a demolition looks like. That's what 9/11 looked like. Perfect demolitions. Buildings turning to dust as they collapse to the fucking ground. And we're supposed to go sit there and go, oh, that was caused by a fire because the planes hit the building. Yeah, that made the rest of the building so weak that it all just fucking turned to dust. Yeah, that makes a lot of fucking sense. And then most of these retards in this nation, they still don't even know about Building 7. You bring it up and they're like, what? Is that what, conspiracy theory? No, fucking retard. Building 7. The one that fell 8 hours later in the day, dipshit. The one that the BBC announced had collapsed before it had even fucking collapsed. You know what I mean? God. Then they call the shit the new Pearl Harbor. Buildings 127, Pearl Harbor, 127, December 7th. They just mock your ass. Ground zero. I had to look that up. See, that's the problem. Nobody fucking looks anything up. Nobody does any research. Ground zero. What's that mean? Oh, I don't know. I heard him call it ground zero, so I call it ground zero. Well, did you look it up? Why would I do that, you conspiracy theorist? Do you see some tinfoil hat here? I don't look shit up. I just swallow it whole. You know? This is the mindset of these fucking worthless pieces of shit that we have to live around. And that's what they are. They are worthless fucking pieces of shit. They don't deserve to consume another drop of food or water. They are a waste of life. They have no purpose other than to serve the powers that shouldn't be. To be their mindless, useful idiots. But no, they don't look up jack shit. Had they looked it up, they would see ground zero. Oh, the point above or below the Earth's surface where a nuclear or atomic bomb explodes. And then if they had 2 IQ points, they'd be like, well, wait a minute. That's the Manhattan Project, atomic and nuclear weapons. Manhattan, World Trade Centers. And then if they had 2 more IQ points, they'd be like, well, wait a minute. Now I remember the 93 World Trade Center bombing. That was right after Bill Clinton took office and right after he stopped the underground nuclear weapons testing program that had been going on for nearly 50 years. I wonder what the fuck they were doing detonating bombs underground for nearly 50 years and way up in the atmosphere. But I don't ask those questions. I'm just a lemming. If I questioned anything, I'd be a conspiracy theorist. And that is so shameful. But don't you see what they did? 93 World Trade Center bombing. They detonate bombs beneath the World Trade Centers. They work under those buildings for months. No doubt they planted the charges that had been developed over 50 years of testing from the Manhattan Project, only to fucking blow up the site, turn it into dust, and somebody out there will be like, there's no such thing as nuclear bombs. Listen, asshole, I don't care what the official name of the bomb is or what the technology is behind it. Don't forget nuclear energy and weapon all summed to 74, and the World Trade Centers were on the 74th meridian. The point is they developed sophisticated weapons, whatever they were, that turned those fucking buildings to dust, and it all came out of the Manhattan Project, and it was all put in everybody's face with the term ground zero. You know? And then nobody, you know, how can... It just makes me so mad that so many people, when you present this information and then you show them like the number rituals, that they just think that's so dumb. It's just so dumb. It's like, is it really so dumb? You don't think it's weird that there's a national emergency on 9/11? 9/11, 911, emergency number. You know? And you just think that's a coincidence? You know? And then the London 7/7 bombings. The Madrid train bombings, 911 days between September 11th and the Madrid bombings, which were on what, March 11th? You know, the people that like their 11s master numerology. It's all a coincidence. You know? You say to one of these morons, you know, the 7-7 thing, it's a special number. You know, so many of you guys, you say you even try the 77 thing on your friends and family and they just write it off as a coincidence. I mean, just think about how fucking dumb you have to be for somebody to say to you, look at this. Flight 77 hits the 77-foot tall Pentagon on the 77th meridian 77 minutes after taking off. And you can verify that it took off at 8:20 and crashed at 9:37 as written in the official 9/11 Commission report. That's a lot of 77. And then you show them gematria and you go, look at this. World Trade Center equals 77. September 11th written out as words equals 77. Washington, D.C., named after a member of a secret society 77. Power 77. Judaism 77. You have the dancing Israelis. You got Eid Barak going on national television after 9/11 saying we need to declare a war on terrorism against Afghanistan and Iraq, which is exactly what we did. You know? It's just amazing to me how dumb people are, and it should make people angry how dumb people are. To just take that and just go, coincidence, I'm not going to think about it anymore. I mean, that's just one of the dumbest things you could ever do. And that's the thing. These dumb people just want to remain dumb. They don't want to use their brain. They want somebody else to do their thinking for them. They want somebody else to put the thoughts in their head that they're going to regurgitate out of their mouth. But somehow most of these people are able to hold down a job. That's what else is mind-numbing. It's like, how can this person be a doctor or a lawyer or an engineer? Especially an engineer in 9/11. It's like, how the fuck can you be an engineer and not question 9/11? You should know as an engineer that what happened that day was physically impossible. You know? So anyway, I mean, there's just a ton to be angry about. You live in a society where you can't question anything without being demonized. You know? You're expected to pay all these fucking taxes. You know? Slave for this machine. Why do I want to pay any taxes to this government? What is this government doing for me? And don't be the jackass who says roads, because you know what? Nations like Iran, there are no taxes over there, and they have better roads than we do. Okay? So we don't need to be taxed up the ass to have decent roads, because nations like Iran, Saudi Arabia, these oil-rich countries, they don't even tax their people, and they have better road systems than we do. And if you're about to say, well, that's because they're rich from oil, guess what? The U.S. is now the biggest oil exporter in the world, so we're rich from oil too. So we don't need to be taxing our people to have decent roads, okay? Guys, just regurgitate any stupid-ass bullshit that's been put in your head. So what are our taxes paying for? Okay, a massive military, which does what? Targets our own nation. I think Puerto Rico right now is getting the brunt of the military technology. Put on some more poor brown people so some rich bankers can provide some more loans, make a little more profit off the interest. What else is going on? We're using our CIA puppet state in Iran to play war games. See if my genius caller calls in Wednesday who makes a comment like, well, what's it say about gematria if his killing's not real? It's like, what the fuck, dude? My work's never been about if the bullshit in the media is real. It's about how they orchestrate bullshit to get morons yapping about whatever the latest nonsense dished up for them is. You know? But I mean, what is our military doing? You know? Drones surveilling the world, dropping bombs on poor brown people. What? Maintaining opium fields so that we can funnel in the opium to get more Americans addicted on drugs. I think that's the latest form of population control. What else is the military doing? What boogeyman is it keeping us safe from? Everyone has this idea that if we don't have some, you know, gluttonous military, everyone's just going to come over here and take over the United States of America. I mean, is that even the world we live in anymore? You know? Pretty sure the world is controlled and all organized by markets and trade and, you know, I think the days of global warfare and threats would all be gone if it wasn't for, our government, Big Brother, constantly filling our heads through the mainstream media with these ideas of, boogeymen out there. Who, Iran and North Korea? We control those nations. Those nations have been controlled by the CIA since the end of World War II. Those nations might as well be made into U.S. states. Those aren't enemies. Those are propped up boogeymen, All these nations like China, our biggest trade partners, a threat? I don't think so. We're dependent on each other. Russia? I don't think so. All these nations trade together, jobs together, people from the U.S. living in Russia, people from Russia living here at the tech companies. The only white people you see working for these tech companies are Russians. The Americans are too dumb to have the best paying jobs in the States right now because they were purposefully made dumb in our bullshit education system. And again, which brings me back to taxes. What am I paying for with my tax dollars? Am I paying for my great education system? When anybody who pays property taxes, if you look at your breakdown, you're paying a shit ton to your local school system. And you got to go, God. And you think about all the homes and all the people paying, you're like, does it really take this much money to fund these shit schools that raise a society of rejects and retards? Which is all purposeful and by design. It doesn't take this much money. You look at how many schools now have like 3 principals, 5 vice principals. It's like, what the fuck? How much bureaucracy and just wasted spending is here? Do we need this many people that have 6-figure salary at the school who do jack shit? No. It's where your tax money's going. You wonder how you can spend so much money on school and produce children so dumb who know nothing about nothing. This is how. Again, there's just so many things to be angry about. This is a bullshit world. And we're made to pay for the bullshit. There couldn't be anything more bullshit. So, for the person asking me what I'm angry about, I'm just getting started. There's 5,000 more things I got to rant about that I'm angry about. Politics, elections. Don't you just get sick of it, man? Everyone just so invested in their candidates. Oh, what do you think about this candidate? Are you fucking kidding me? It's 2020. I think, what kind of fucking schmuck is following any of these bullshit candidates? That's what I think. Oh, you're a Bernie Sanders supporter. Yeah, Bernie. Great track record. He's been in Washington for 40 years. Tell me something Bernie's done in his 40 years in government. Okay, he's been a congressman since, 91, so almost 30 years. He's been what was he before that, a mayor in Vermont? He's been in politics for 40 years. But Bernie, yeah. Well, what's he done? And don't get me wrong, out of all the shit, mouth politicians, I can't stand any of them. I do probably nod my head in agreement with more things Bernie's saying than anybody else, but he's still just a fucking bullshitter, He talks about healthcare all the time. It's his number one issue, but he never says what needs to be said. You'll never hear it. You'll never hear Bernie talk about how the U.S. government purposely makes people sick with their subsidies. Subsidizing junk food, and that's it. If you're not going to talk about that, you're not talking about anything. Bernie, how are you going to pay for your expensive healthcare system? How about instead of spending more and charging more taxes, how about we spend less? How about we stop fucking subsidizing junk food, which is corn and sugar, what the U.S. federal government subsidizes all over other foods by a huge margin. Why don't we stop, just 100% cut off those subsidies and see what happens? Let's see if these fat, shitty Americans can still afford to fill up their cart with subsidized junk food. Because you look at every fucking American in the grocery store, it is true that the stat is that over 70% of Americans are overweight and half of those people are considered obese. That's a true stat. Because when you go outside, you see nothing but fat fucks everywhere. And the reason why is because of what they're eating. Junk food, chips, crackers, sugar, candy bars, muffins, white bread. Nothing but fucking garbage. And how can they afford to eat this shit food? The food's actually not cheap. The food is only cheap because our government pays for it with our taxpayer dollars. And why do they do that? Because it's a profit scheme. Because then they can know they can come around on the back end, and with all these sick, bloated people, they can make all this profit. Because again, the cronies run the government, right? The rich corporatists run the government. You know? They want policies that produce this sick population so they can come in and get them with their life-saving drugs, with their cholesterol-reducing drugs, with their fat-reducing drugs, with their medical procedures. This is what they want. And this is also what makes the healthcare expensive system, or that makes the healthcare system so expensive. There's way too many people that need it because their bodies aren't functioning because of all the shit they've shoved into their face. Okay? The reason, like me right now, I'm in the worst shape I've been in my life. And that's because I spend too much time in front of this computer doing this work. In the 6 years that I've been doing this, they've been the least healthy years of my life. But notice, in the 6 years that I've essentially been living in front of a computer, I haven't bloated into some big fat fuck looking like the average American at age 36. In fact, I still fit into the same exact clothes that I wore in high school. My body really hasn't changed. There's less muscle tone. That's what's changed, but still the same size, same waist. Clothes still fit about the same. Just the physique's not quite as good as it used to be. That's because I still eat right. And if Americans were eating right, see, I don't go to the store and buy all the shit and junk food. I don't buy any of that. I know not to put that in. I know that because something tastes good doesn't mean that I should eat it. And I got to admit, before I got this bad sickness, I probably ate more junk food than I'd eaten in the last, probably my entire life. Because just like everybody this year, people always make sweets and stuff at the holidays, but God, I was like, what's with my family this year? This year everyone's just got all this sweet food and you want me to eat this and eat that. So I did eat more junk food than I normally eat, and then I got real sick. I mean, there's probably a connection there. I probably didn't even do what the average American does, but for me it was bad. But anyway, the point is, if you had a society of people who ate right, there wouldn't be some huge, expensive, enormous healthcare crisis. It just wouldn't exist because people would be eating right. People would be making food their medicine. And why aren't people making food their medicine? Again, because they went through this bullshit education system that didn't teach them jack shit about anything. They didn't learn anything about anything. They learned Christopher Columbus came here, and he was the greatest fucking sailor. And he saw all these dumb brown people that were easy to murder and rape. And he said, let's call it manifest destiny. And here, let's learn that same fucking lesson every year through school and never cover nutrition once. You know what I mean? Bernie Sanders doesn't talk about this. No one talks about this. No one calls spades spades. Bernie Sanders is right that, yeah, there is a class of rich people that rule over everyone. Okay, let's talk about some of their fucking tactics and just get beyond that slogan that he just throws out all the time. Let's talk about how shitty the education system is. Let's call out how shitty it is. Let's stop worshiping teachers within education. Most teachers do not deserve any praise. They're fucking lazy. The reason they have that job is not even because they care about kids. It's because they couldn't achieve in anything. Most teachers are bums. They have no skills. They couldn't get a better job. That's the reality of most teachers. I drive past the schools here after hours and I see these fat, obese creatures crawling out into their cars in the parking lot, and I think, there's the teachers. What an inspiring fucking thing to go to in class. Hi, Miss Blobber McBlobberson. What are you going to teach me? It looks like you're about to kill over and have a heart attack in 5 seconds. You know what I mean? Fat slobs should not be in school classrooms, period. Walk through schools. It is mostly fat slobs. The principals are mostly fat slobs. What is that to aspire to? You wonder why the nation is now full of fat children with fat parents and fat teachers who nobody knows jack shit about jack shit. I mean, it's just gross. We live in the grossest fucking moment in history. Fat slobs everywhere. People that all they know how to do is shove shit in their mouth, regurgitate shit, not know jack shit about shit. Here, somebody wants to call in. Let's take a call. Caller?
Hello, how you doing this fine day?
Is that really how you talk?
Well, that's good to hear. I'm calling to ask your support for Donald J. Trump.
Okay. Thanks for the humor.
Y'all know he's ahead in the polls, right?
Tell me you are trolling me right now, and this isn't some
I
real...
guarantee you, this country's going down a big hole if you ain't supporting this man.
Am I talking to a robot or a real person?
Don't you want to keep all them immigrants out of here?
Okay, if you're going to not answer my questions and just keep doing canned phrases...
You ain't being reasonable.
Okay, I got to hang up. I can't... See, that's the other thing, too. I hate that we live in this fucking age where you get these, like, robocalls, and they sort of sound like it's a real person. I don't know if that was a guy trolling or if that was, like, a real campaign call for Donald Trump. But here, let's talk about another thing to be angry about. The fact that Donald fucking Trump has a single fucking supporter. How fucking pathetic do you have to be to support Donald Trump? Like, literally, how fucking pathetic of a human being do you have to be? This fucking clown, this reality TV creature is the president of the United States, the apprentice, right? And the fact that anybody supports this fucking guy, you know, this guy is the biggest welfare queen on the planet. He was given the equivalent of $100 million by his father coming out of high school. And he lied about how much money he received from his father. He said it was just $1 million. Just $1 million back in the 60s? Even if it was just $1 million, which it wasn't. I mean, it just shows you that the guy has no fucking clue. Hold on, let me take one more call here. Caller?
Hello, Zach?
Yeah, what's up?
Hey, man, how's it going? I'm just listening, first-time caller. Wanted to ask you, what are your thoughts of Agenda 2030?
Well, I honestly haven't done that much research on Agenda 2030, but we know the direction of things. The direction of things, the world we're living in without Agenda 2030 and without Agenda 21, the direction of things is to create a worldwide populace that submits to a surveillance state, that doesn't question anything, and possibly within that also getting rid of a large percentage of the population, as is etched on the Georgia Guidestones.
Well, definitely. I mean, they're going to push everybody into major cities. Nobody's going to be able to live on the mountains or rules or whatever. And then if they want to just get rid of some people, boom, one earthquake or one hurricane, and you wipe up half of Los Angeles or whatever.
Yeah, that would be a way to get rid of a lot of people at once, hurdle them all into the cities, and then do whatever you're going to do. So, I mean, it's not out of the question, and that's why people got to wake up. So, yeah.
Crazy, man. All right, Zachary, thank you for answering that. I'm going to keep listening.
All right, appreciate it, man. Take care.
All right, bye.
Okay, but coming back to this Donald Trump character and the fact that he has any supporters. I mean, the guy said, and it was a span of 33 days before the election, and it was probably all contrived, but contrived or not, it's like, how are you going to... Because, I mean, the people who support the candidates, they don't think things are contrived, and they're under the illusion of all the bullshit. But how are you going to support a guy who boasts about how he grabs women by the pussies, and he doesn't care if they're married? I mean, what kind of shitty fucking values are these? Do those sound like the qualities of a leader? A guy who, oh, I'm rich and famous. Who gives a fuck if I'm fat and ugly? I was born rich and famous, so I'm entitled to grab women by the pussy. I'm entitled to try to fuck women that are married. I don't respect that. I don't give a fuck. I'm a rich, famous asshole. Therefore, I'm greater. I mean, any of you who support that are fucking losers. Period. I don't give a fuck about your support. I get tired of every time I say this, somebody has to leave some email or message. Oh, your words about Trump hurt me. Fuck you. I'm not... Man, get the fuck out of here. I don't care about your bullshit feelings if you like that piece of shit, okay? That guy is a fucking piece of shit, Anyone who follows a piece of shit is a piece of shit. I don't want you in my camp, okay? And I realize he's here to polarize and divide. That's what the whole political process is. But seriously, the people who align behind Trump, I do want to be not on your side, okay? I want to go to war with people like you. I want to make you fertilizer. You worship a fat prick, the shittiest... I mean, let's not even talk about the cosmetic stuff, but I mean, the guy's just so fucking gross to look at, and he sits there and talks about other people's appearance. The guy's a fat fucking blob with the worst haircut in the history of the world. And then they give you his counterpart over in Britain just to mock you all the more. You know, Boris Johnson, also from New York City. Let's not forget Boris Johnson equals 158 like Freemasonry. He took over 158 weeks after Theresa May. Freemasonry also sums to 58. Trump's the winner of the 58th U.S. presidential election. Announced he was running from the 58-story Trump Tower. Hired the 58-year-old Steve Ray for Inauguration Day and yada, yada, yada. It's all Freemasonry. And then that's the other thing I fucking hate. You know? Everyone's like, what, you think everyone's keeping secrets of these conspiracies? Yeah, moron, I do. Fucking secret society established this goddamn nation. That should tell you something right there. Again, you gotta have 5 fucking IQ points to see what's going on, and most people don't have them. I just looked up at the chat for the first time. My eyes read the word Zach. Many women are guys. Okay, the transgender thing, that's another thing, you know, that's maddening that's going on right now. I don't like everyone accusing everybody in celebrity of being a tranny. This one's a tranny. I mean, it's like, okay, so some people definitely look like trannies. There's this woman that's on CNN every night, and I say woman with an asterisk. That does not look like any woman I've seen before. That looks like a dude. But anyway, I mean, just the whole transgender thing is gross too. It really is gross. And I have a real life story about having to work with a transgender person. Hold on, let me take a call from my home city. What's up, Portland, Oregon?
Hey, Zach. I just want to make a quick comment, and I'll get off. But I just want to say that when I when I tell these people about this shit, I notice that they get it in their head within a split second. But then, like, there's fear. They go to this. What does that mean, like fear? And so that's what I'm trying to say. It's all because they're terrified. I mean, no.
They're too scared to confront the reality, so they don't want to think about it past a certain point, is what you're saying?
Because it means their demise. I mean, and they can't get past.
Well, that's the cowardly way to think about it. It doesn't have to mean our demise. To me, it's like, let's recognize what's going on and let's get rid of it. Let's end this shit.
I agree.
I don't know why everyone's so fucking scared of that. To me, it's like, okay, if we end this, I don't have to wake up and think about paying any more taxes to this federal government. That'd be a great fucking relief if I woke up in the morning. You know? On the news, Washington, D.C. smoldering. I don't know if that needs to happen. I mean, it is some nice architecture, but I just mean you get rid of this fucking thing. You don't have to pay taxes to it anymore. You don't have to put up with its bullshit. It's over. I mean, that sounds like the greatest thing in the history of the world to me, and I don't know why everyone's so scared of that.
I see why they're scared. I mean, they're looking at, like, a huge monster that's going to fucking... I mean... I'm not scared. I want to fight this. I tell people about this. But that's about as far as I can go, it seems, you know?
Right. Well, we all got to figure out a way to go further, that's for sure. But, yeah, this cowardice is a killer. And you're right. I mean, fear is what holds a lot of people back. There are some people, though, who I don't think it's fear. I think it is that they're really ignorant and they love all their programming and their bullshit culture and their Cheetos and their sports games and their movies, and they just worship the society we live within, which is too bad.
Right. And it's also like enlightenment. How far have they gone spiritually, or are they, you know, in my opinion?
Sure. Yeah, I would agree that is a part of it. So, yeah.
All right. Thanks. Thanks, Zach.
All right. Appreciate it, man. You take care.
Yep. You too.
All right. One more caller. Tennessee.
Hey, I hope I'm not echoing too badly. Can you understand me?
There's some echo. It's kind of hard to hear. What's going on?
Okay, a couple of videos that I want you to watch, and I'm done. It's called Stan Timmons, A Personal God, live #1 with Stan Timmons, and I need you to watch Stan Timmons, Alphabet in Our Hands. Thank you.
Stan Timmons. Stan Timmons?
T-E-N-E-N.
Okay, I'll look it up.
Alphabet in Our Hands. The organic, original way that the alphabet was created. With the shape of the hand, like the shape of the hook, with the Monster Energy drink, the six letter of the alphabet.
Yeah, from the Hebrew alphabet. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, the six.
And the other one, the first one, A Personal God, it explains the flow of photons as information. And I believe that they're making the cloud layer and actually storing and intercepting the information coming from the photon, from the sun. So I want you to watch it to see what you think.
Okay, I'll check it out. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right, take care. Okay, but the comment a moment ago about the transgender stuff. Again, I'm all for personal freedom. If somebody wants to be a transgender, by all means, do what you want. I mean, to me, it's gross. But again, it's just bullshit because you can see that it's an agenda. Like, what was it a couple weeks ago? J.K. Rowling made some comment about how she essentially doesn't support the whole transgender thing. And then the whole media is like, oh, J.K. Rowling, what a horrible person for you to speak against transgenderism. Again, this is a real story from my life. In Seattle, once upon a time, I worked at a teen homeless shelter, and I actually really liked that job. Out of all the jobs I've ever had, I loved working at the teen homeless shelter more than any other, because I got to do everything there. I got to work with teenagers in need. I got to help them out. I got to teach them. I got to counsel them. I got to help them get on a correct path. And when I worked at the teen homeless shelter, I mean, it was just, everything was perfect. But then we hired this transgender person. And I still remember the transgender person's first day. Just behaving like somebody you would never... I'd never seen anybody behave like this at work on their first day. Just cussing, talking shit, making fun of the appearance of kids. And I was like, what the fuck is wrong with this person? Like, are you seriously in a teen homeless shelter right now making fun of 16, 15-year-olds the way they look? Like, and you're a fucking tranny? And just loud and just obnoxious and just fucking awful. And within days, the kids were reporting about how this person, Connor, who was this big, fat, obese woman who wanted to be seen as a man, going by the name Connor, how Connor was, talking shit to the kids. They talked about how, Connor, we routinely took kids on trips to places. Connor went just speeding down a 25-mile-per-hour road at like 60 miles per hour, and it's a road with some hills, telling the kids to put their hands up like a roller coaster. It's like, what the fuck? I mean, like, seriously, who is doing shit like this? And the thing was, we had a meeting about Connor, and essentially what was said is, this Connor person, they are acting up, but we can't fire this person because it would open up a huge lawsuit since they're transgender. And I was just like scratching my head like, okay, we see this person is fucking insane. They're causing problems here every day. We're having to write all of the incident reports about Connor fighting with the kids here and all the crazy shit going on. But we can't get rid of this person because they're a fucking transgender? And now we're making excuses for them because they're on testosterone pills because they're trying to convert to a man? This was my first taste of having to deal with somebody transgender, and I just saw how bullshit it all was. I was like, okay, anybody else would have been fired from day one. We can't fire this person because we're afraid of a lawsuit? I mean, get the fuck out of here. And again, if we're going to make excuses for these people that they're acting crazy because they're taking testosterone pills because they're trying to switch their gender, I mean, this is just bullshit. You're born a woman, you're born a man. If you're gay and you're... I do believe that some people are born homosexual. And I do think that now that there's more of an agenda to push homosexuality, I think a lot more people are experimenting with homosexuality. And again, if you believe in freedom, people should be able to do what they want to do. I mean, to me, it's all kind of cringy and gross. But to make this stuff an agenda and to push it and to have it in the news every fucking day and to, pull up somebody's quote about how they don't like transgender just to beat them down and berate them and say what a terrible person they are. I mean, this is fucking bullshit. Bullshit. By the way, I heard this past year, 2019, a new secret society was started within all the Ivy League schools for transgenders. Isn't that nice to think about? There's going to be a powerful elite secret society of transgender rich kids. Can't fucking wait to see what they do to the world. Hold on, let's take another call real quick. Caller?
Hey, Zach, how's it going? Love the show, bro.
What's up, man?
Yeah, I just wanted to talk about, there's a show on Netflix called Little Baby Bumps, LBB, which is 322. You always talk about numbers and stuff like that, but can you comment on, shapes, colors, animals, and all the predictive programming that they're using to, target the babies and the toddlers, other than numbers?
Well, again, there's a lot of esoteric knowledge out there that I don't know about.
It's definitely a Skull and Bones reference. I mean, we all know that, Netflix is predictive programming for all of us, but, I mean, I think it's just wild that, it's right out in front of our face. Little Baby Bumps, LBB. I had to look it up, and it was 322. But anyway, I think that there's a lot more that they're trying to, download into the little kids' brains with regards to colors, shapes, animals that they want them to associate with certain things, trigger mechanisms, and things like that. But anyway, that was my comment. Love the show. Thank you very much.
All right, appreciate it, man. Wish I had more information on it, but yeah, I think you're right about what you're saying. So, all right, you take care.
Take care. Okay, bye.
Yeah, I mean, I know a lot about the numbers, and there's a million other things out there that I don't know about, but to me, the numbers are just the most clear and easy to present, and for people who are actually willing to listen to see. But yeah, I mean, targeting children. That's exactly. There's a reason everybody should be angry. The targeting of children, because all of this bullshit we're talking about, it is aimed at children from a young age. Caller?
Oh, hey, Zach.
What's up?
First time caller, but I've been following your work for many years now. I just have a couple questions.
Okay.
So I'm coming out of high school, right? Not really sure what to do, but I kind of have that, drive to push to wake people up, I guess you could say. Not sure where to take it from there,
Well, you got your whole life ahead of you, so I mean, it depends on your situation. I mean, when I was coming out of high school, what I had to think about was how I was going to pay the bills and, plan my future. And 9/11 happened my freshman year of college, which kind of changed the path that I thought I was going to be on when I graduated high school months earlier. But, I mean, it depends on your situation. Honestly, at your age, coming out of high school, I'd be focused on, just building my foundation. But if I cared about truth, which obviously you do, I'd also be researching and in the information age, even figuring out a way to have an outlet and speak out and spread information, whether that's social media or pounding the pavement. But, priorities are important, and you got to be able to take care of yourself. So I'd make sure you got that squared away first. And just fair warning, I mean, the thing of it is when you start putting yourself out on the web and putting out this information, it does close certain doors for you. It will open other doors, but it's like I can't teach anymore. I'm a certified school teacher, but no one will hire me anymore because of the work I've been putting out online for the last 6 years. So all school districts have blacklisted me, which is too bad because I'm a good teacher, and even though I hate the school system, I feel like most students do deserve to have a teacher like me who actually cares and will work hard for them, but because of what I've done, I cannot go back to the profession that I used to have. So, I mean, that's one thing to consider.
It's kind of unfortunate.
Yeah, so.
The world we live in,
Right.
Yeah. But anyways, man, I'll let you get back to it. Appreciate it.
All right, you take care, man. Be safe out there.
Too.
See you. But yeah, targeting of children. I mean, that's exactly what's done. It's like this beast system really fucks up kids. The television markets all this shit food to them from a young age. And all of this food that's marketed to them that their taste buds like, it's scientifically engineered to be addictive from a young age. You wonder why you have so many obese Americans. It's because they grew up in front of the television, getting addicted to the sugary food from the start, the fatty food, the junk food. That sets up a lifetime of problems right there. And then beyond that, then they're being sent to the classroom to get indoctrinated, not educated, but indoctrinated. And, that's a major disadvantage. Caller?
Hey, what are you up to, dude? Hey, I've been a long-time viewer for several years, and I just want to see you have some more spirited debates with other people with expanded minds. Like, nothing against you or anyone else, but I just want to hear this more talked about and other people's ideas too, and perhaps more can come out of this. Like quantum of conscience. He's on a different page than you, but if you two got together and discussed the differences, maybe you guys could, find out some more. Do you guys have for similarities?
Well, I've always reached out to people and wanted to debate people. Nobody really wants to debate me. I've even done live streams where I promoted it, days in advance that I'm going to open up for the debate. We'll debate this subject. Nobody calls in and tries to debate. So, I'm all for it, but I just haven't found a lot of people that are willing to debate or to have a discussion about anything I talk about. So I think a lot of people just think it's all beneath them, that's the weirdo numbers guy, and I don't even want to waste my time with him, unfortunately. So,
but they do add up, as everyone sees around here. But there's so much more to it that no one really knows. But I figured you more of a spirited debate. You talk to a guy lift the veil. No offense against that guy, but whatever. You know how that stuff was. And I just like someone like the quantum of conscience seems like a person who is almost on your page. You guys are in the same book but a different page. And just for you two to talk would be very beneficial for everyone listening to both of your programs, his and yours.
Does quantum of conscience have a phone number to get in contact with?
No, he's actually, he's just like you, dude. If you check out his videos...
Well, he can't be just like me. I got a phone number. You're talking to me.
Show, but he lives the same life that you live, pretty much, too. It's pretty remarkable. And I watch both of you guys' stuff, and I just see there's so many similarities, but you guys aren't connecting.
Sure.
If you could... Go ahead. You speak, sorry.
Well, I'm all for it. If you want to help link up quantum of conscience and myself, I'm all for it. I'm willing to talk to anybody. It's just... I get tired of reaching out to people, and people reach out and they say, I just get so annoyed. Nobody really wants to communicate. So maybe quantum of conscience does, but I was also just making the point. The guy doesn't have a phone number, so there's no way to contact him. I put myself out there. I've always made it easy for people to contact me, and still people don't contact. So
that is the way how the world is nowadays, dude. Unfortunately, people are all about themselves and believe what they talk about is the best. And anything you look at is just BS news and BS information out there.
Right. Yeah, I hear that. All right, man. I appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you, dude. Bye.
Right, see. Yeah, so anyway, for people who got here late, somebody asked me why I was so angry. That's what this video is about. All the things I'm angry about. Why everybody else should be angry about it too. Caller?
Hey, Zach. How are you?
Well, I am just so angry. What's going on?
I was listening to the show earlier. I'm a long time, turn my radio down. I'm a long time listener too, and I just wanted to say all the stuff you were saying earlier about Trump. I'm in Los Angeles, but all the stuff you were saying about Trump and just basically people being cowards. People are just, this whole society is just fear-based, and that's why whenever, because I mention you, I mention your channel to people, and I get the same looks, it's like they want to have one reaction, but they have fear. They're afraid, to realize what's actually going on. So I just want to say, as usual, you're right on track, and people are just, from the time that we're children, it's just, we're programmed to fear anything that's outside of what they've set up in this construct.
We're also programmed to obey and follow.
Exactly. you were saying earlier about how people they just don't question anything, and it's just mind blowing. Really, it is. And I found that and I know you're angry about all this stuff, but it's like, you know what? A lot of times, people that speak the basic baseline truth that you're speaking, people are they're just programmed to just not comprehend it and not understand it. And I agree with what you say about IQs. I mean, a lot of times smart people are very, isolated. It's like they can't get other people to go along with them because it's just their IQ is much higher than the average person. And I'm sorry, but America's got a lot of people with a lot of low IQs, because how could someone like Trump have supporters, again, with the things that you were saying about grabbing a pussy and all this other stuff? I mean, the fact that someone like that could even be a leader of a country is shocking, and it's unbelievable.
It is. It really is unbelievable. And it's just a sign of the times, too, because you have to think, it's like, well, if close to half of the country likes this guy, what does it say about them? How can you like a man who says he has the right to abuse women because he's rich and famous, which is essentially what he said? I mean, it's just sick. It's sick. So.
Yeah. But, I mean, just have some solace, have some... I just want you to know that you're supported, man. You are supported, and there are a lot of high IQ people who understand where you're coming from, and, that's precisely why your channel's been deleted 20 times. That's precisely why, because you're too far outside the construct for people. They don't want your knowledge to get out there, and like I said, it's basic. If you can count to 10, you can understand exactly what is going on, and people just don't get it.
Right. And, well, the other thing that's actually bothering me is some of these channels that have a lot of subscribers where it almost seems like sometimes they flirt with this subject matter but don't really elaborate on anything. It's like,
right.
Like, for example, there's a channel, High Impact Flicks. Sometimes he'll do things like, look at that 223 in the background. That's a number. And then he doesn't say anything else. It's like, do his viewers even know anything about 223? So, like, I've reached out to him a number of times and said, hey, man, do you want to help spread this word about gematria and, like, the meaning behind 223, which I saw you touch on? And then he doesn't. I mean, it's just like, okay. You say you're out here trying to change the world and shut down this tyranny, but you don't want to educate about this system and how they're operating? I mean, that's what's so maddening, too, is... the people who have the audience, and maybe the reason they don't want to is because they've seen how many times I've been deleted, but,
yeah.
Anyway.
But, I mean, it just, every single time, when I pull up your videos and I see that you're live or I see that you've done a video, I give it a thumbs up before I even watch it, because you're just so on point with everything. Everything is just so on point, and I mean, if people can just get their head out of their ass and realize what's actually going on, they should be angry. I agree with you, And,
yeah.
All I can say is, on a day-to-day basis, I do all that I can. I try to tell people. I've tried to tell my family, but they're completely, under the spell of this construct. Like, they don't get it, and so. I don't know. You're not alone, though. I can tell you that. And I don't think that your views and your likes and stuff, I don't think that they are representative of the people that are watching you. Because I know that I've even posted it on my social media. Your channel. I mean, I tell people. I tell them this is what's going on with this society. I do all that I can, but I mean, what are you gonna do?
Yeah, well, I appreciate all the support, and yeah, I bet a lot of times if you go back and look at videos of mine that you liked in the past, your like is probably not there anymore, because that's what Google's always done. They'll always take away people's likes, and that's just all part of their suppression of their way to keep certain videos out of, finding other people's news feed. So, yeah, it's really hard for me to get a video even to 500 likes, because the likes just start to... like, if you look at one of my videos that gets a lot of views, like... say it has 1,000 views, it'll have like 150 likes, and then if the video jumps up to 20,000 views, it'll be like at 200 likes. You're like, wow, so in the last 19,000 views, it only got 50 more likes? That's great.
Yeah. I mean, I just want you to know that, I mean, you've got major support out here, bro. Major. And I mean, I'm one of those people, you know, I would love to work with you, work for you, whatever's going on, because I see how raw this truth is, and it just needs to be, people just need to know. People need to know what is going on. I mean, the people that are running things, it's just crazy. They do need to be taken out of power.
They do. And yeah, ASAP, you know, it should have been taken out a long time ago. So I appreciate it. I'm going to find out where the support is, because I do have a plan here. Once I finish the book I'm working on, I'm going to start a merchandise campaign. And I don't know if I'm going to call it Gematria 500 or not, but what I'm going to do is essentially is put up a list of 10 cities, and I'm going to say whichever city sells 500 pieces of merchandise to help meet me in the streets, that's what city I'm going to first. And we're going to preach about what's going on and get people to realize that there are people out here who care and see what's going on, and the awareness needs to spread. So
honestly, I think at the end of the day, I think it's fear, because I've even, like, when I tell my sister about it, immediately she's like, I don't want to know. I mean, you know, this is, you know, there's nothing I can do about it. And it's like, yeah, there is something you can do about it. You can tell everybody you know what the hell is going on in this crazy ass country.
right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, it's like you can spread the word, and it's like that, but it's just fear. It's fear-based, and I just wanted to say, I mean, it's indoctrinated into us as children to not even think outside the box. We are indoctrinated. You know, we're indoctrinated to think that, you know, getting a good education, you go get a good job, you pay taxes, and you fucking die. And it's just fucking bullshit.
That is exactly what's expected of us. That's exactly what we're programmed to do. Just be cogs in a machine, participate, consume, pay taxes, and die. That's what they want from us, and that's not a real life.
I mean, my sister works for the state, and she's a brilliant business mind, just like me. We both got it from my dad. My dad was a very successful executive at IBM when we were little girls, and now he's retired. But you know, she doesn't reach out and do things that she wants to do. I'm like, why are you staying there at that job? You know you're not happy. They don't. Corporate America doesn't promote. Corporate America promotes the wrong people on a daily basis. You know what I'm saying? They always. You know, it doesn't matter where you work. The people that are actually doing the work aren't the ones that actually get the promotion. The stupid people get the promotion.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Oh, absolutely. It's all about who you know. Right. Yeah. I know.
Go ahead.
Well, yeah, I mean, I just remember another example in Seattle. I worked at a group home, and I worked there while I worked at the teen homeless shelter. And actually, it was lesbian women who ran the group home and the teen homeless shelter. The one who ran the teen homeless shelter is a lot better, but I just remember there was this god-awful employee at the group home, and she got a big promotion, and everyone already knew that she was in a relationship with the lady who ran the thing. So it's like, okay, so you promote this god-awful employee because you're having a romantic relationship with this person. And that's not exactly the corporate world, but that's just an example of the way the world actually works. It's like, okay, that is not the person who needs to be promoted to the position. Just because, so...
And it's like people just roll over and take that shit. And it's like, why don't you do something about it? Change your life. You know what I'm saying? Do something that is going to make a difference. You know, do something that's going to make people happier. You know, make yourself happier. Jesus Christ. You know, why are you sitting around, you know what I'm saying, relying on a system that doesn't love you? This system doesn't love you. It doesn't love anybody. You know what I'm saying?
Everything is fear. Everything.
It's even deeper than race. It's like
everything is fear.
Doesn't love anybody.
Everything is fear-based, really, because the reason people don't change their life is then they're afraid that things are going to get worse. They're going to lose their source of income. They're going to lose their house. They're going to lose their reputation with their family or their friends. Everything literally is fear-based in our society. So people just stay right in line. And
exactly.
well, and I mean, in a way, it's like there is legitimate concern behind that fear. It's just like me. It's like I cannot go back to my profession that I spent all this money to get an education in because I decided to do this. And there is a part of me that's bothered by that because I like teaching and working with kids, and knowing that I can't do that anymore to me is bullshit. But at the same time, I understand why. And when I decided to do this, I realized I was running that risk. But I mean, ultimately, if more people spoke up like I was doing, we could overthrow this system, and then I wouldn't have to worry about that bullshit consequence that I'm living with right now. So that's the consequence of too many people living in fear and not speaking out.
And Zach, if enough people got together at a ground roots level and said, you know what I'm saying? If you look at history and said, we're not going to put up with this shit anymore, you know, there can be a change. But there's just too many people who are like, oh, God, I'm just so used to my life the way it is, and it's fucked up, and I'm not happy, and I'm fat and overweight. I don't have time to exercise. My kids are fat. Everybody's dying. But we're just going to sit up here and put up with it. And it's like, no. I decided 5 years ago to take my life back and say, I'm going to exercise every fucking day. I'm going to be happy. I'm going to treat people right. I'm going to make other people happy. You know what I'm saying? Why do people just settle for misery? I just don't get it. And the reason why I know I'm speaking truth right here is because, you know, they've done surveys recently and only like 30% of people are happy. That's a very small percentage.
Of course they are. I mean, yeah, look at our society. Drugstores everywhere. Everyone on anxiety medicine, antidepressants. I mean, it's just the signs are everywhere of how wrong things are here. But we march on anyway, and we act like things are great. So.
Right. I mean, and it's exactly what you're saying. You know, diet, exercise, all this stuff. You know, treating people right, basic stuff like this is just, it's not happening with the kids, and that's why our society is just fucked up, and, like, nobody cares. Like, you know what I'm saying? It's like, okay, another day of fucking Donald Trump. I mean, it's just unbelievable. If this fucking asshole is president. It's unbelievable.
There truly couldn't be a worse time ever to be a child right now because, you know, exactly. You look up to especially in the United States of America, you look up to the president. I mean, as a kid, you're taught that the president's this, you know, special person, this great human being, highest office in the land. I mean, how can you look at Donald Trump and see anything great there? You just see this, you know, self-entitled, spoiled moron who believes. Yeah, it's just.
And I hate to say it, but for me, one of the biggest things, and this is gonna sound crazy, but the motherfucker eats at McDonald's and shit. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly, he promotes that. Exactly. What do you have the college football team there, and he bought 1,000 Big Macs? It's like, oh great, that's just what college athletes need to be eating.
It's just, I just can't get over this guy. Like, it's just too much. It's just too much. So,
it is too much.
Anyway, Zach, I don't want to take up too much of your time, but I just want to say you're the man, and keep going, and I'll have to send you an email or something because you got support here in Los Angeles. And I'm originally from Oklahoma, and I know there's a guy in Oklahoma you work with. I can't think of his name right now, but anyway, you have support here in LA, just so you know.
All right, I appreciate that. Thank you so much. You have a good day.
Thanks, Zach. Take care.
All right, take care. Yeah, you too. Somebody in the chat says, start my own school. Well, that takes a lot of money. And I'm guessing the person you knew that started their own school had some money. So it's a lot of money and getting through a lot of red tape to start your own school. Caller?
Hello?
Yeah, you're on.
Oh, I'm doing all right. Hey, I was calling. You ain't been doing the basketball in the NFL? I mean, the Super Bowl will be.
All right, am I doing anything about the Super Bowl?
Yeah.
Yeah, on Patreon.
Oh, yeah. Pick the win.
Yeah, we'll be doing another live stream tonight on the football games. Yeah, that's not what I'm talking about right now, though.
Oh, what about the Tom Brady game? You didn't know when he got beat? I thought you were going to break that down.
Yeah, I do sports on Patreon now. You got to be on my Patreon page to do sports.
Oh, you got to be on the Patreon?
Right.
Oh,
You doing NFL and football on the Patreon?
Exactly. Been doing it for over a year now. Sports on Patreon. All right, man. I appreciate it. I'm going to switch over. You take care. Caller?
Response necessary. This is an automated message from the NST. Records from your internet service provider indicate that you've recently viewed Level 3 classified government documents on WikiLeaks. In accordance with Statute 219.2a, the viewing of classified documents is punishable by a fine of up to $250,000 and/or imprisonment of up to 5 years.
I got to pause right here. I've gotten some weird...
Your name, date of activity, and documents...
Let me switch over to this caller room. We're coming back to this right here. Caller?
Hey, Zach. How
Hey.
are you?
Doing well.
All right, you hear me?
Yeah.
All right, I'm going to talk this astrology real quick, get it out. The chart, you start at 9 o'clock. You start at the 77th day of the year. Okay, you come around, you keep going all the way through all the houses back to the 12th house. But the thing is that you get to the first house, that's the 33rd degree right there. So number, 38 would be 38 degree, would be the 115th day of the year.
Okay.
I know you probably don't get it if you don't know astrology, but if you take the 9 o'clock position on the chart, okay? You hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah. At 9 o'clock, and you start that at the 77th day of the year, and then you keep going all the way around. I sat with this thing for, a week and a half, just mapping out all the numbers and everything. But I'm trying to break it down now into each house, and I think they got categories into different specific areas. What ruler of each house and which planet. The second house would be Taurus and Venus and Taurus, and third house would be 64 degree through 100 through 95 degree. So I can start over real quick. From the ascendant, you go from the 77th day of the year, which is 318, would be 0 degree, and then you get to the first degree. Then by the time you get to the 33rd degree, that's the split on the line between the first house and the second house. Okay? Then you keep going. Go through the second house would be 34 degrees through 63 degrees. And then the third house would be 64, which is the 141st day.
You know what I think you should do? I think you should make a YouTube video with a visual demonstration to help out. I mean, I think it's interesting. It's just if I had something to look at while I was listening, it would help a little bit
Yeah,
with it.
I ran all the numbers on a chart and put it down like that. But I just wanted to get other people out there, just give them the knowledge to do it if they want to do it. I'm just starting to break down. I just listened to the Irishman video that you did, and as I went through, I did the degrees and then tried to put them in the houses, and it's involved and everything, but obviously it's making the degrees in between with the aspects. So it's pretty interesting when you look at it. 38 degree would be the 115th day of the year, but it's really 5 degrees into Taurus. So.
Okay. Well, I find it all interesting. But yeah, if you make a video with some visual displays, I think that could be really good. So let me know.
Yeah, I will. Have a good weekend.
All right, you too. Take care.
Take care.
So before she called, that automatic voice recording about watching some WikiLeaks thing, which I didn't. Those kind of recordings coming while I'm doing this live stream, I've never gotten a call like that in my life. But there's been a few times over the years I'm doing live stream where I've gotten some weird automated thing like that. I mean, that just shows you that there's some government asshole out there who's watching, and he's like, oh, watch this, I'm gonna call with this recording. It's get the fuck out of here, man. You aren't scaring shit, you fucking losers. Caller?
Hello, Zach. Can you hear me?
I hear you.
All right. Okay. I just got a new headset. All right. I'm the person who called in the the Juice World, that day Juice World died, did the long live stream.
Okay.
I did a call. I was at my mom's house when I did that call, but I don't know, I'm so nervous right now. But, okay, what else are we going to talk about? So there's so much fucking controlled opposition YouTube channels. Like, I just want to rant about that shit too. Like, a call for an uprising. Like, I'm doing what Dr. Savage 84 does. He's Chigozy Truth, like, knows that person. He predicted the Fat Joe death hoax in October. Like, I'm subscribed to the Call for an Uprising to see, like, why are so much motherfuckers subscribed to this guy?
I don't really think he's like some guy who came out of nowhere and had 100,000 subscribers overnight. But like, you look at his Patreon, he has like 100 Patreon people. So I don't even really think they have the following that they do. Otherwise, they'd have more people supporting there. So.
Yeah, that's true. Because I remember he said something in a live stream. He was like, "Oh, there's so much people that subscribe to me because of like my popular videos, but when it comes to live streams like this, they don't watch it." Like, he said something like that.
Right, and that doesn't make any sense either. It's just like retard from Boston had 10,000 subscribers after 7 years, and then he got into beef with me, and he said he was going to pass me in subscribers. I was like, well, how? I mean, I've been here for 2 years, I have 40,000 subscribers. You've been here for 7 years, you have 10,000, and your content's fucking garbage. And the next thing you know, he has 100,000 subscribers. It's like, holy shit, well, I guess he did pass me. How did he do that? Well, I guess he bought his subs. So, yeah, it can be done. I mean, if you look into how... It's kind of expensive to buy subs, but people have done it, so...
Yeah. So much people know about your work, because I remember I looked at your blog, and it said, like, 13 million. Like, 13 million people looked at your blog, like, looked at esoteric... this language, gematria, how the Cabal code stuff, they went on this blog, or I don't know, there could be like more than that number. Like,
well, the blog used to get good traffic because I used to be able to see my daily report, and in June of 2017, just before I got deleted with my main channel, I averaged 50,000 viewers a day on my blog, which is pretty good. And now the new numbers are I average about 400 views a day on my blog. So a lot's changed in a negative way since June of 2017. And yeah, I mean, I don't know what stats are real. I don't know if the number was higher than it actually was back then, or if it's lower, being reported lower than what it really is now. But well, I do know that there's way less people following me now than there was June 2017, no doubt about that. But yeah, the stats and what's reported, it's hard to know what's real. So
that's true. The only thing I like about Call for an Uprising is, like, his whole intro. The intro is just Masonic. Like, it's all, like, fucking, there's, like, a fucking narrator guy that he paid for, probably sucked his dick or some shit in order to get him. Like, but, like, I like the first things the narrator says. I don't like that shitty animation that he hired some guy to make. Like, he says something, he's like, have you ever, I forgot, I don't know how, if I'm reciting it, like, he's like, have you ever know there's something wrong with the world, like, but you don't know, like, what is causing it, or something? Like, he said that. I only like the beginning of what he said right there. Like, and then the rest of the Call for an Uprising is just, like, a bunch of shill shit. Like, it doesn't really talk about, like, the shit. Like, I respect you. You fucking upload shit that matters. Like, I disagree with you with some shit. I remember I was on Patreon a couple months ago on October. I think you're different now because I'm not on Patreon no more. But I still subscribe to you because you're one of the only realist YouTubers nowadays. All these people are shills like Infinite Waters, Infinite Flame Society, Tom Newton, whatever the fuck his name is.
Yeah, well, I mean, I agree. There's not a lot of good content, and a lot of people are full of shit and unwilling to talk about certain things because they don't want to mess with their cash flow and their advertising and their channel status and their t-shirt sales. And Yeah, I mean, it's just the way it is. And a lot of the good channels have gotten discouraged because of all the censorship. So, yeah, it's a bad time for the online truth community. A lot of damage has been done. All right, I appreciate it, man. Thanks for calling in.
Oh, okay. My bad. I was going to add something more, but,
All right, you got something more? Okay. What else you want to say? What else is left?
Oh, I was going to say something like, I remember I was listening to, there's this guy, Instant in Plain Society. He has people call in. I remember, he does something similar like what you do. But I discovered him first, and then I discovered you, where you speak real truth. Like, this guy is, he's a show because I know he was a Mason before he even became Instant in Plain Society. He's a 32nd degree Mason. But also he's a Scientologist, but that's unrelated. But, I remember there was people, they're like, I'm at my work, I'm waiting to call you to speak about this true stuff, this is how, people support you. People are hyped for you. There are probably people that aren't at home right now. They want to call you, they're at work. They want to get something off their chest to call you, tell you about something.
Sure. Well, I think a lot of people will call in because I'm one of the only places online where you can call into a number and the person will let you speak and just go on and on and on and on and on. So, I mean,
yeah.
What other truth channel puts out a number and allows people to call in? I mean, there's not a lot. So.
Yeah, that's true. All right, I think that's it for me. I talk too much.
All right, man. It's all good. You take care. Okay, so anyway, I just got on here because, I was annoyed about some lady saying, why are you so angry? It's like, she hasn't heard that quote about, it's no measure of health to be well adjusted to a sick society, or however that quote goes. But, I mean, everybody should be angry. We live in fucking bullshitville. And if you care about more than yourself, I mean, you should be angry for all of the children of the world. I mean, what a shitty time to be a child. Some of these children, they think they got it made because of these HD TVs and these, movies and video games that are so, engrossing, but it's not good. I mean, they're eating the shittiest food ever. I can't believe when I go out in public and just how many obese and fat children are everywhere. It's just like, oh my God. I mean, when I was a kid, there were some fat kids. There was 1 out of 500, but now it's 5 out of 10. Caller?
Hello. This is a pre-recorded announcement from the current administration.
My fellow Americans, it's time we stand united on our common goals. I promised when I came into office
This is not
make
real.
America great again. Now is that time. I am appealing to you to stand up for America. In 3 months, we will start construction of our largest effort ever to secure our borders.
What kind of prank calls are these? Is that somebody that's seriously sitting there creating a fake Donald Trump campaign ad telemarketing call? I mean, what in the hell? It's the second one of those already. And either that or we're living in this day and age where there's algorithms picking up on live streams and they heard that I talked about Trump, so technology has gone too far, man. It's gone too far. But anyway, for the people who've called in and said I got people out there who support me, I know that there are people who support. There definitely aren't enough. But we're going to find out where the supporters are this year, because this year I am not going to make the mistake that I did last year. Last year I didn't get out and pound the pavement like I said I was going to. This year it's going to happen. And I might have to pound it myself if people don't show up. So that's what we're going to find out. Caller?
Zachary, thank you for taking my call.
Okay, what's up?
Not much. Real quick, the 1995 Illuminati card game, why doesn't anyone talk about that?
Well, I don't know. People talk about it. I used to talk about it a lot. I haven't talked about it for a minute.
Where do you think we are in that card game? In your personal opinion, where do you think we're heading to that?
I want to go back and look at it right now, because I feel like it came out in the 80s, not 95. Maybe I'm wrong about that. Isn't it older?
Be wrong. I know they revised some of the cards, but
here, okay. just to answer the question you asked me, you said, where are we in that game? I know there's an enough is enough card with something that looks like Trump's face. I think that's where we are.
That one too.
I think that's where we are. So
Nice. Yeah. Well, I'm also thinking that something's going to go on at the 2020 Olympics. To be honest with you, if you think about the way things are going, there is the combined. I think this combined attack. There's one card that's out there that if you look at it, looks like the tower from Japan or something like from Japan actually.
okay, I've all these years I've been saying I'm going to get a deck of these cards, and I still haven't done it. I really should do that and just look through what else is in there, because there has been a lot of events from that card. Like one of the best ones is the terrorist nuke card, which looks exactly like the explosion on the World Trade Centers. And yeah, so I got to go back and look at the Illuminati card game. It's probably been at least a couple of years since I even thought about that subject, so I'm glad you brought it up.
Oh, thank you very much. Well, Zach, thank you very much, man. Keep up the good work, and I am subscribed to you,
All right, thanks, man. You take care.
Bye.
Caller?
Yeah.
Yes.
Am I on?
You're
hey,
on.
Am I on, Zach?
You're on.
Hey, Zach, how's it going? My name is Neil, and I live out in Yakima, Washington.
What's up, man?
Hey, how's it going? Anyway, I just wanted to give my thoughts on what I think's going on with the whole Iran stuff. I thought this is interesting. You know, the whole jumbo jet crash, and I know you've already done some gematria on this, but what I kind of think they're doing is I kind of think they're using this little incident to do something that I call shock testing. You know, they'll give an event, and then they'll gauge people's reaction to it, right? They want to see how people are reacting, and it's kind of like what I got from the whole thing. It seems like American society, and especially the younger generation, I don't want to say that people want a World War III, but it's like they're kind of receptive to it, almost expecting it.
Right.
Right.
Absolutely.
And see, the thing is I think that's what's going on. Is I think they were just using this incident to see how society reacts, and I think it's all scripted. It's all a show, and I think what they're wanting to do is to see, you know, they're going to see how people are reacting to it, and then what I think is going to happen after that is I think then they're going to start rolling out things in the future, because we all know if things really got serious with Iran, that Russia would be all concerned. You know, they got all their interests there centered in Iran, and the reason why they have their interests in there is over the oil. And that's kind of what I think is something that doesn't really get talked about in the truth community, is the fact that basically, you know, oil runs the world. It really does. If you take it away,
of course,
you know, modern society,
the blood of the economy.
Collapses. Go ahead.
Of course it does. It's the blood of the economy. Oil is connected to everything. Every consumer product requires oil to make it, to transport it. I mean, everything's oil. So.
Right, and I really think that's the real thing that dictates everything. If you look at the United States foreign policy, that's why we're really in the Middle East. A lot of people tried to say that we went to Iraq for terrorism and humanitarian efforts or whatever. I don't think so.
Hold on, I just got to interrupt and ask, how old are you?
I'm 35.
Oh, we're like the same age. Well, everybody's always said it's all about oil, man. I mean, this isn't any new topic. I mean, people with their head up their ass deny that that's what it's about, but I feel like everybody knows it's all about oil.
You would assume so, but a lot of, I don't know, at least on online, I get pretty thrashed for saying that. A lot of people try to say that it was just, you know, Bush was incompetent, he just wanted to look strong and all this and that. But, you know, the fact is what I kind of think it was is I kind of think it was an Israeli operation, so it would give us a way to segue.
Hold on. Instead of going that route, just go back and show all the pipelines that have been built since we went over there, from Afghanistan to all over the place. I mean, they built 1 million oil pipelines since we invaded. I mean, it's obvious it's all about oil. There's 1 million different things you can point to show it.
Right. A lot of people, see, that's the thing, is a lot of people say, oh, we don't own Iraq's oil, we got nothing to do with it. But see, the fact of the matter, and this is an absolute fact, is we make a lot of money, billions, off refining their oil and shipping it. We may not own it per se.
Of course we do. Plus, these companies are international. I mean, everyone's just so trapped in their country. It's like, look at the corporations that are here. They don't think of themselves as Americans. They put their tax shelters in other countries where they don't have to pay taxes. They have enterprises in all nations across the world. I mean...
Yeah, and if there's people that really think we weren't over there for Iraq, it's funny because the Bush and Cheney, besides the fact that they're major share owner, and actually Cheney was the vice president of Halliburton, or a division of it, or no, actually the entire company. They won all the contracts when they came in there and invaded. So the people that, basically the people who okayed the war made millions off it.
Right.
And so this is what I think is happening. What I think is happening is I think Russia, China, and Iran, and even India, what they want to do is they want to segue off the petrodollar, and they kind of want to start their own like Asia Pacific Union, kind of like how we do, with the Western societies. How we have our little Canadian and Mexico, but see the thing is Russia mainly gets their oil from Iran and Venezuela. That's why when shit started to go down in Venezuela, Russia got all concerned and started making threats. And I kind of think that's what's up. Is I think the New World Order, or whatever you want to call it, I think what they're trying to do is they're trying to slow the growth of humanity.
Uh-oh. My phone just died. That's earlier when the woman was on talking for a while, made that magical sound. Sorry, caller. Phone's totally dead, so I can't take any more calls. It's okay, I need to get off in a minute anyway. But yeah, that's it. We got a totally dead phone. Let's see if I can even power it on. I cannot. For the person who doubts that the power died, I think you can see that. It's telling me to plug it in. Okay. Alright, sorry about that. But it was a good run with the phone calls. So, I thought that was interesting that he was saying that most people don't think the wars are about oil. I thought most people with a clue knew that oil had a lot to do with it. Oil and opium. I think those were the two real agendas of the wars in the Middle East. Alright, you guys, but anyway, just to finish it up, again, to me, if you're not angry, you're pacified. A lot of you will write emails to me and say things like, oh, Zach, you can't be so angry about all this because all we can do as people is, fold our hands and pray and wait for Jesus. And that's not me, and that's never going to be me. I mean, to me, that when you guys write things like that to me, my thought is like, well, you're actually what's wrong with the world. You're going to sit there and fold your hands and pray and wait for something that's probably never going to come while the world goes to shit. And the world's ruined for every child in it, Again, the same people who give you government and nightly news, they're the same ones who once upon a time gave you the holy books and told you to believe in the holy books and bow down to authority and follow the teachings and wait. I mean, religion's not doing anything. Religion's only causing problems. It's dividing people. It's making people think that all they need to do is just fold their hands and wait. Wait for Jesus. He's going to show up. I can feel it. It's closer because Netflix just released Messiah and he walks on water in that film. He's almost here. Let's just wait a little bit more. No. That doesn't give me any great feelings. Just believing that Jesus is going to come solve all the problems someday. Just wait on Jesus this time. Let's just wait for 100 more generations to go to hell while we kick back and wait for Jesus. Nope, that doesn't give me any comfort. And if that gives you comfort, we're not the same type of people. So, I mean, I'm all for spirituality. I'm all for people abiding by the golden rule which Jesus taught. I'm all for people about being more than about themselves. I mean, those are all things that I relate with. But waiting, just waiting, that's not ever going to be the ticket. I don't think any wise person's just waiting for somebody else to come solve all their problems. That's exactly what the cabal would want. A population of people waiting for somebody to come solve all their problems. Big Brother's just going to keep you so safe. So, yeah, I mean, sometimes it's just like painful to even check the email because it's like, God, these are the people reaching out to me with all these stupid fucking comments. I mean, the other day I opened up my email, the top email, some guy who says, Zach, I followed you for a long time. I even bought a copy of your book, but what you said about pro-lifers, I just can't follow anymore. Good riddance. I'm like, I actually wrote back to them. I said, what did I say about pro-lifers? Are you talking about the other day when I said pro-lifers like Ben Shapiro who love war? The only lives they care about are unborn fetuses. They love to see dead brown people underneath drones. Is that what you're offended about? Because that's absolutely factual. Right-wingers like Ben Shapiro who love war, and then the only lives they care about are unborn fetuses. Those people make me sick. It's a big part of the reason I can't stand the right wing. I mean, that is the right wing. They love war. They're just so up for war. War's just so fucking great. Love war. Let's go bomb some more brown people because we're too fucking dumb to see through the propaganda. We're right-wingers. But oh my God, don't you dare touch that unborn fetus. That is just horrible. And again, I don't like abortion. Who likes abortion, you know? It's just, I see how shitty right-wingers are with their bullshit and their, you know, fake values that they think are just so fucking great. So, you know, for the moron who wrote that email, I mean, fuck off. Think I want to read your stupid fucking email? Because I guess you're somebody who loves war and loves to harp on about how I'm pro-life. I also hate that term too. Pro-life is a bullshit term because most of these people don't give a fuck about human lives. They don't care about the prison industrial complex. They don't care about all the wasted lives behind bars from bullshit crimes. You know, they don't care about all the murdered people from war. They don't care about any of this, but they think because, you know, they don't believe that some poor woman who probably shouldn't be having a child doesn't want to bring that child into the world, that because they're against that, then they're just pro-life. I mean, get the fuck out of here. It's bullshit. You know, again, you want to solve abortion, help bring back community. Help bring back a world where people feel supported and that they can trust others. You know, I can't blame the mother who doesn't want to bring a child into this world. And I hate listening to ignorant people say, somebody can always adopt a child. That's bullshit. You don't know what the fuck you're talking about. Go work at a group home. See how many children need to get adopted that never will. They're going to grow up. They're going to end up homeless once they're kicked out of the group home. They're going to end up in the prison industrial complex, you know, if they don't commit suicide somewhere along the way. They're going to live this life of rage and god-awfulness, you know, from the time they're an infant until the time probably they depart from the earth. And we're saying that the most horrible thing that could have happened is, you know, the mother could have made a choice to not bring that life into the world. I mean, I know the counter-argument. The counter-argument is, well, maybe that life would persevere and do great things. And yeah, that is a fair point. I recognize that point. I'm just saying, I'm not going to sit here and tell people what they can and can't do with their bodies. And I'm not going to say women are murderers because they chose to get an abortion because they didn't want to bring a child into the world for whatever reason. You know, I think the late-term abortions definitely, probably should not be happening. That's pretty terrible. I mean, make the decision. You know, make the decision early in the process. And somebody out there will say, well, even early in the process, there's already a heartbeat. I get all that. You know, the world's full of tough decisions. Just my point is, I don't want someone crying to me about some remark I made about some right-wing piece of shit like Ben Shapiro, who's getting all giddy about bombing Iran, and he's the same fucking douchebag who's making videos all the time going after poor single women who get abortions, talking about them like they're the worst people on the planet, when it's actually pieces of shit like him. So... But yeah, just everyone gets so offended. Everyone's just so sensitive. Oh, you disagree with me on one thing. I just can't listen anymore. Let me write an email about it. I mean, get the fuck out of here. You're crying to the wrong person. So... Yeah. All right, you guys. I think I said enough. But, yeah, just so many of the topics that people are so emotional about. Again, they're the topics that have been given to you by the code, too, to keep you worked up over. Go back and look at the day of Roe versus Wade. Wasn't the decision made January 22nd? 122, abortion equals 122. They knew what they were doing when they did that. Setting up a generation of divisiveness. You know? So many people in this world, they say, I only vote Republican because they're the pro-life party. And that's exactly what they want. Yeah. Come vote for us because you're pro-life. We're the party that loves war, loves fucking over poor people, loves creating more and more bullshit, drug wars, incarcerating brown people. But come support us because we got our worm on the hook that says pro-life. And somebody out there probably thinks I'm a Democrat. No, I hate both sides of the political aisle. It's all a show. But, I mean, just the way people think and the policies they'll get behind over one issue. And do the Republicans do anything about abortion? I mean, not really. Judges do things, but the political parties don't. They just use the issues to get the votes and to keep people split right down the middle. What is a fishmonger? That's the question I got to know before I go. A fishmonger? I know Miss Mildred was lecturing me the other day because she said, what, you don't know that people bring their guns to church in the South? I mean, I'm from the Pacific Northwest. People don't bring their... not many people have guns up in the Pacific Northwest, first of all, especially not out in public, and especially not at church. But, again, we do live in a big nation, a lot of different cultures, a lot of different things that are normal depending on where you're from. I thought that Texas video of all those people pulling out the guns at church was so weird. I mean, I grew up in a Lutheran church. Nobody was packing. Not up here. So fishmonger must be something southern too. All right, you guys, we'll wrap it up there. Again, if you're not angry, you should be. And a movie, if you're looking for a movie to watch this weekend that maybe you've never seen before, you got to watch Network, Howard Beal. That's where that quote comes from. I'm mad as hell and I'm not going to take it anymore. Network, that's the movie that told the future of this country. Manufacturing news for ratings, steering the populace for corporate greed. It's not the most exciting movie, but it's a movie every truth seeker should watch because it's one of those movies that really put the truth out there and told us the future. All right, till next time.